Ever since GTA San Andreas was released back in October 26, 2004 in multiple platforms, the game has been surrounded by different mysteries and various interesting secrets in this entry of the franchise. Going for something as basic as just a playground rumor spread by children in playtime, up to something inside the game code being fact-checked by actual people that worked in the game. This idea of the iceberg chart was started some time ago, but gained traction around last year. Scouting for some of these charts, I found one of my interests being about the legendary GTA San Andreas, with re-additions to the charts, each one with different mysteries and additional stuff complementing each other. For this iceberg, I found these two charts on Reddit, and I've combined them together because some had specific things that weren't that necessary to talk about, and some had, so here is my version of these two charts. To explain briefly, an iceberg chart usually classifies mysteries and rumors judging their level of knowledge. In the top level, we can find the well-known information, for example, public info in the game right off the bat, popular memes, and easy to find Easter eggs. In the bottom levels are the darker, deeper, and unknown secrets, which don't have a lot of info on them, so they need to be thoroughly researched. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, as we're about to enter the deep waters of GTA San Andreas. Bigfoot. The legendary Sasquatch was once believed to be inside of the game, although it was quickly dismissed by Rockstar themselves after the spreading of the rumor. This led to the quick creation of different mods and source code research looking for the creature, though nothing was found other than mods that reskinned NPCs and located them in the forests of Flint County. Rockstar made a small Easter egg about it in the recent game GTA 5. In the mission Predator, when Michael uses the thermal sniper to hunt the O'Neill brothers, you can see a figure standing in the forest in the bottom left of the camera. But when the figure is spotted, it quickly disappears. It's also referenced in the mission called The Last One, and also, Bigfoot's existence in San Andreas is directly referenced in another Rockstar game, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. There's an achievement in that game that you get for killing a Sasquatch called 6 years in the making, a reference to how the game was released in 2010, 6 years after GTA San Andreas launched in 2004. Aliens. I don't think we have to mention a lot about this. There's no aliens in this game, but there are intended or unintended references about them though. You have the Lil Probe Inn, which is near Area 69, which is Rockstar's version of Area 51. There are lights in the sky which many believe are supposed to signify airplanes flying in the distance, but the texture of these is in fact called UFO lights. Easter Egg Bridge. There's a little Easter egg that you can find on top of the Gantt Bridge in San Fierro that says, "There are no Easter eggs here, go away." Nothing more, nothing less, just a classic Easter egg. Fun fact about this Easter egg, some dude actually went and painted that on the actual Golden Gate Bridge as well. Hot coffee. This entry is known by most, but for those that don't know, the original version of GTA San Andreas had a mini game where CJ could have sex with any of the girlfriends in the game. Rockstar disabled this mode, but they didn't fully remove it, so when the game got released, modders were able to enable this mini game again, leading to a whole lot of problems for Rockstar. Their game rating got changed from an M for mature to an AO for adult only. It was so bad that even several politicians got involved. Hillary Clinton sponsored a bill in the US Congress called Family Entertainment Protection Act that was supposed to impose fines on those who sell adult video games to minors, but that never got enacted. Because of this, she also got her own Easter egg in GTA 4 where the Statue of Happiness has her face and is holding a cup of actual hot coffee. Ghost cars. Ghost cars have been reported a lot by players around the Back or Beyond parts of the map. The cars are beaten down versions of the Glendale, and also in the game's code, the version of the car is called Glen Shit. The ghost car spawns on a hill and goes down to give it an effect they are chasing you, when in reality they don't. Only via mods this can actually happen. Claude. Claude is a character that can be seen in the mission called Farewell My Love, and also he is the protagonist of GTA 3. Nothing much is known about his past events before GTA San Andreas. The only thing that we know is that after the mission, he and Catalina go on a 9-year robbing spree through America till the events of GTA 3 happen. Body bags. The mass grave, also known as body bags, is located near Area 69. The grave is a large hole that contains a dozen body bags in it. There are several theories on how they got there. 1. It's somehow linked to Area 69. Those people could have been some scientists who knew a little more than they were supposed to, so they got whacked. 2. It's related to the introduction where there's a scene with 2 mafia guys burying somebody in the desert. I don't think this theory is true. Those guys make that burial in a spot different than the one where the bodies are located. Also, the hole where the bodies are located is way too big to be made by 2 people with shovels. And 3. Mary Beth Maybell, the DJ of Kairos, says during an audition that her 6 husbands are in the ground, which also happens to be the number of body bags in the mass grave.
All my exes are 6 feet under the ground. That's the difference. I ain't never been divorced, just frequently widowed.
100% rewards. If you have completed all the things required for 100%, the rewards are a Hydra spawning on top of Sweet's house, a tank under the Ganton Bridge, $1 million, and infinite ammo for all your weapons. Pretty sweet rewards if you ask me. Cut missions. There are various missions in the game that haven't made it into the final release of the game. It could be due to time constraints or being completely forgotten by developers. Currently there's about 5 missions that are missing. If you guys want more info regarding this, check out this video made by Vadim M. Leatherface. Leatherface, also known as the Chainsaw Killer or Panopticon Killer, is a popular myth in GTA San Andreas. The whole idea of Leatherface in the game began sometime around the release of the game when internet-based rumors began to spread about strange chainsaw noises that could be overheard around the Panopticon area during the night. Most videos showing Leatherface are either fake or modded versions of the game, and because of the lack of proof, this myth is most likely fake. Rockstar logo. It is no secret that Rockstar puts their own logo inside of the actual game. It can be seen in a variety of cases, from just clothing you can find in shops to beach towels with Rockstar logos on it to stars actually making an R shape during the night. Really interesting way of reminding you who's the developer of the game, I guess. Skateboards. Originally, the skateboard was going to be used in the game as a way to move around and also acting as a melee weapon. It's likely that it was cut out late in development as there were a few strings of code referring to an icon and a model left in the game. Big Smoke's order.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
This legendary quote, memed by millions around the world and spreading a huge wave of challengers trying to order and eat this massive fast food combo, is one of the top levels of the iceberg due to how well known this part of the game is. But I believe it's in the iceberg because of the meaning behind this order. It is believed that this combo that Smoke ordered was big intentionally, so the Ballas had enough time to arrive at the Cluck and Bell and shoot the grocery members, which led to the suggestion that Big Smoke was a traitor since the beginning of the game and sparked a ton of theories connecting on how Big Smoke was eating instead of shooting so he couldn't betray the Ballas while giving CJ and his boys as bait.
Why you ain't blasted, Smoke? Speed up a little bit. Quit stuffing your motherfucking mouth. Let's go. I ain't stuffing it, homie. I'm enjoying my meal.
Mad Dog glitch. This refers to a glitch that can occur if the player has used the riot mode cheat before triggering the Mad Dog mission. Basically, Mad Dog would instantly fall off from the window, making the mission impossible to beat. The only way to fix this is by using a save editor and removing the hate relationship to the player from the male peds. Palomino Creek shovel. A shovel can be found next to an open grave in a graveyard in Palomino Creek, which made a lot of fans think about possible zombie and grave robber mysteries. Pigsy. Pigsy is a character originally featured in the 2003 Manhunt game made by Rockstar Games and released before San Andreas. It was found that a 3D minifigure of the character was present in Zero's RC shop located in San Fierro, which led to the rumor of the existence of a bigger usage of this model in the game files, implying about Pigsy roaming around San Andreas with his iconic chainsaw and gruesome attacks. But it was never verified by anyone in the company aside from the minifigure in the shop mentioned before. Big Smoke's ghost. This is an unlikely myth, but some people have reported hearing voices and seeing shadows of Big Smoke's ghost in his cracked fortress after the end of the line mission. There are certain floors in the fortress where lights go on and off, hinting at the possibility of a ghost being nearby, but ultimately it's just a false myth made up by the player base. Bear in source code. I'm not sure about what this entry refers to, since it has different meanings for it. It could be either referring to Big Bear, one of the characters in the game, having cut dialogues and a different model in family clothing, which would be right to assume he would have been recruitable in some point of the game. The other thing that could be meaning is the myth of bears being in the game, but they were cut because they apparently didn't meet the standards as a realistic animal and had to be removed entirely, but it's just that, a myth. We may never know if one or the other is the entry that's referring, but I'm more inclined to believe that it's talking about the loads of cut content that Big Bear has. Ryder's ghost. After the mission Pier 69, many people have reported seeing a familiar figure that looks like Ryder wandering around his backyard in Grove Street. What's different about this ghost compared to others is that this one apparently can be hostile and fight you with fists or melee weapons. But most of these theories were quickly dismissed because people used modded versions of the game, making it a false myth. Wheelchair. There's a wheelchair located at one of the triathlon locations. Nobody knows why it's there, but most have tied it with other various myths in the game, including Leatherface and many others. It's also the same wheelchair that Johnny Sindacco is forced to use after the mission Fender Ketchup. Ryder's original plot. Ryder, for those who don't know, is one of the antagonists in GTA San Andreas. Ryder was supposed to have a much bigger role in the game, but they kinda killed him off entirely in the mission Pier 69. There's a lot of rumors saying MC8, Ryder's voice actor, and Rockstar had a falling out, but none of them are true. He even thanked Rockstar on a podcast as well.
Oh man, shout out to Rockstar Games.
One of my favorite games.
It's most likely he had other things to do during that time. Remember, he's a musician as well. So what Ryder's original plot was supposed to be remains unknown, but we do know he was supposed to have a much bigger role in the game instead of what was in the final version. Ghost graffiti. There's a certain graffiti in the game that can only be seen during the night at the LS Cemetery reading Families for Life. It can only be seen during the night and it vanishes in the morning. It was written in a large style and clearly made by a Grove Street member. Shooting the moon. The moon was added to the GTA franchise in the third installment of the game. This entry refers to the Easter egg where if you shoot the moon with a sniper rifle, it changes size. Manhunt references. So far we've only covered one Manhunt character. However, there's even more. James Earl Cash is the main protagonist of Manhunt, and in GTA San Andreas, there's also a action figure of him next to Pigsy. There's also a company called CARSON Gas, which is a reference to Carcer City. Green goo. This is referring to a mission in the game where you try to locate a mysterious substance for the truth and take it to him. It is believed it is related to aliens because it came from Area 69 and it's also heavily protected by government officials. The truth also doesn't give you any info regarding it, so it adds on top of the possibility. Impounded. Impounded was a mission that was cut before release where Kendall suggests that CJ and Caesar should hang out together, but while they are talking, a tow truck drops by and tows CJ's car. Later, you and Caesar work together to get it back. If you guys want more info about this mission, check out this video from VadimM alongside some other cut missions from the game. Visiting Liberty City. In GTA San Andreas, there's a mission called St. Mark's Bistro where you fly to Liberty City to take out one of the Forelli bosses. That's the only time you get to visit Liberty City in the game. You can, however, with mods access it again, and also there is a video of Joshima's glitching his way to Liberty City as well. I'll post a link of that video in the description down below. FBI truck. This infamous FBI truck was cut in development before the game's release. I'm not quite sure why, but it might be because of time constraints and the fact that they had to aim for a release date. The truck's a mix between a real-life Dodge Peacekeeper and the Cadillac Gauge Ranger. Also in the beta version of this game though, this truck was supposed to have a mounted gun as well though on top of it. Umbrella Corporation. Umbrella Corporation is a company in the Resident Evil series which was responsible for a zombie outbreak happening in those games. In GTA San Andreas, there's a corporation that is believed to operate almost similarly to Umbrella called the Zombotech Corporation, which most likely is just a reference to the Resident Evil franchise. Missing radio songs. I'm not sure if this entry is regarding beta radio stations or the radio stations and songs that got cut on the Xbox 360 remaster though, so we'll just cover both though. There is one radio station that can be seen advertised on billboards throughout San Andreas, but it has no songs or DJs related to it, and it's called Dopalicious FM. Another possible non-selectable station is High K69, which is a radio transmitter building located in Fort CARSON. Remaster is a scam. At the time of recording this video, Rockstar has announced the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition, but this entry is not regarding this. It's regarding the terrible mobile, Xbox 360, and Windows Store versions. It's straight up just the mobile port being ported over to the consoles and Windows Store, and it's considered the worst versions of GTA San Andreas due to it having terrible looking textures, more bugs, and etc. If you want more info regarding the terrible remaster, check out these videos from Vadim M regarding the remasters. I highly would recommend you check it out because it goes a lot more in depth in them. I really hope the new remasters aren't gonna be like this, but you can never tell with Rockstar these days though, so fingers crossed. Cut gangs. In the beta version of GTA San Andreas, there were 10 gangs originally planned, with 2 being unused in the final game. They can only be spotted if they have turf or if you use the Biff Buzz cheat in the PC version of the game. Both gangs share the same assets, they drive sentinels and wear Varios Los Aztecas clothing and act as Rifas. Some modders even use these slots as a placeholder to make custom gangs. TV Ghost. The TV Ghost is probably a reference to one of the Ring movies. Other than that, there's not much to say about this entry, and it was debunked by the community years later. Do Your Own Missions was planned. DYOM is the acronym for Do Your Own Mission, which is in essence a custom mission builder for the game. I think this is referencing to the DLC mechanic that was supposed to be used for in-game expansion packs that Rockstar originally planned to release for San Andreas. They of course never released any expansion packs for San Andreas, but the mechanic of loading expansion packs is still in the game and is used by the Do Your Own Missions mod. Faces in Dirt. I couldn't find much regarding this entry. The only thing I found was a video that displays the face of Pigsy, the Manhunt game antagonist, in one of the textures on the floor. I doubt this is what the entry refers to, but it's still a cool little detail. Blue Hell. Blue Hell refers to the blue abyss that is under the map, which is usually seen after clipping through the floor. It is named Blue Hell after the fact that it follows the color of the skybox. There's so many different ways to enter Blue Hell, but the best way is to use a jetpack. Go to this location, and near this window, there's no solid ground or anything, so you can just fall right through it and bam, you're in Blue Hell. Mr. Trenchcoat. Mr. Trenchcoat is an NPC found inside of the game. He spawns in areas of Tierra Robada and Bone County, although he can be spawned as the infamous suicidal photographer in Flint County. The reason that he's so mysterious is because his dialogue suggests that he's been abducted by aliens, and it's constantly making claims about him having something in his head.
Saw one the shape of a dog once. Then I woke up 6 months later. They're up there watching. Well, they're watching us. They know. Headaches, voices, urges, amnesia. Can't let them take me again.
Modded discs. Ever since GTA San Andreas came out, there have been many different bootleg versions of the game. A bootleg is basically when a person takes the original game, adds a few mods or texture changes, and burns all of that onto a CD and sells many copies of that for a profit. And there have been many different versions of the game. Sea monsters. Similar to the other myths in this iceberg, this one started in 2005 when players reported seeing black lines in the water. Some players also report seeing heads and necks resembling a thing called the surgeon's photograph. This is 100% false, nothing else to add to it, it's just false. EPSILON program. The religion cult started in GTA San Andreas, but it didn't have a big influence back then up till GTA 5. You can hear many different quotes from pedestrians about them, you can hear them on the radio, and also you can find their secret church meetings as well. The Epsilon program first appeared around early 2004 when a teaser site was launched at EPSILONprogram.com. You can access this site through the Wayback Machine, and it was used to promote their scam in the early 2000s. Interior dimensions. Interior dimensions can be found throughout a lot of buildings with a jetpack. They are usually located very high in the sky, near the height limit, and usually most of these interiors are the ones you can rob during burglary missions. Not sure why Rockstar left it like that. Maybe they thought nobody would wander around the world, but you can find them there. 123 Robot made a series exploring all the hidden interiors. You can find it in the description down below. Big Smoke killed Beverly. At the introduction, Tim Penny approaches Smoke to convince him to join forces to control the drug trafficking in Los Santos. He tried to convince Sweet to join in as well, but Sweet stuck by his principles and refused. Smoke, knowing he would be dead if he didn't find a solution, he had no other choice but to kill Sweet in his own house. To do that, he hired a couple of Balls members and a Green Saber to do a drive-by on Sweet. But Sweet wasn't in the house, their mother was, so they killed her instead. Ghost Town. Las Brujas is a small abandoned town in the middle of the desert, and the name translates to the Devil's Castle. The town is supposedly based on Bodie, California, and also Las Brujas means the witches in Spanish. Biowell. Biowell is a small well located in the countryside, behind one of the betting shops. It has a sign that says Bio-Waste, and it's believed to be linked to a nearby bioengineering business that illegally dumps biohazard waste into the well. It's a pivotal point of the water pollution conspiracy. Male 01. This is the most basic NPC you can find in the game. He's often used in random location because he sometimes uses a bit of a placeholder, being used in generic things like a taxi driver conducting a train. And also when you use a replay in a mission, all the mission characters will look like Male 01. And also the reason for his strange behavior is quite simple actually. And open the pedgrp.dat file in the data folder. It will say at the top, group should contain 32 ped type names. Please don't use Male 01 in any of the ped groups. The unknown guy simply acts this way because he's not bound to any specific group, and thus can be spawned in the game world as a member of any of them. Usually this is not a noticeable effect, but he can spawn in the Ballas or Grocery ped group, which would cause his aggressive behavior. This is why the unknown guy can be seen in large groups, as there are multiple opportunities for him to spawn in. It's also worth noticing that his appearance is based on Tupac Shakur's appearance in the movie Juice. Catalina Cabin Graves. There are 3 graves and a shovel next to Catalina's hideout. Not much is known about the people who were killed. It mentions that it could be the graves of the 3 husbands she had before, but it's only speculation. Ed Gein references. Ed Gein was a murderer and grave robber whose story inspired the likes of Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs. Those are only the ones to be directly influenced, but I think at this point we could say every horror movie baddie was influenced by Gein at some point. He's a popular figure of American culture, so it would make sense for Rockstar to put some references towards him inside an open world as big as San Andreas. Here's what I think are the most solid cases. Number 1. Ed Gein drove a 1949 Ford sedan. We can find a similar car, the Glendale, in the woods, where it spawns on an uneven surface though. It's one of the cars we know as ghost cars, although it's entirely possible that the effect of it driving itself was intended by Rockstar. Number 2. Ed Gein's house is somewhat similar to Helena's house. That isn't enough to say it's a direct reference, as many houses in rural America from that time period look similar, but what can be found in Helena's barn could point towards that. There are 4 weapons inside that barn: a flamethrower, a pistol, a chainsaw, and a Molotov cocktail. Pistol is the obvious tool for killing, the chainsaw could be referring to Leatherface, while the flamethrower and the cocktail could refer to one of these 2 events related to the Gein property and file. Ed Gein's house was burned down on March 20th, 1958, when he was already in detention likely because of an arson. And in 1944, when Ed was in his mid-30s, he and his older brother Henry were burning down marsh vegetation around the house when the fire got out of control. Late in the evening, with the fire now extinguished, Ed reported his brother missing. Henry was later found dead, and his cause of death is unclear, with some claiming he had bruises on his body and others saying he had no burns or injuries at all and he died of asphyxiation. It is entirely possible that it was Ed who killed him, especially since Henry's comments about their mother apparently hurt Ed, who was obsessed with her. And number 3, the open graves in Palomino Creek and in Los Santos. Maybe it could be a reference to gang robbing graves, but I seriously doubt that. Suicidal photographer. The suicidal photographer is a pedestrian that is located on the coastline of Flint County scenic route, and they can be seen taking some photos. After they are done taking pictures, they will walk into the ocean and just drown. It is speculated the reason this happens is because of a path glitch, but other than that, there's nothing much else to add to this topic. Franklin in GTA San Andreas. Franklin's voice actor Sean Fantino, one of the GTA 5 protagonists and beloved by the GTA community, was apparently featured in GTA San Andreas. Players found out that he worked on the game as a voice actor for one of the Grocery family members. Another interesting fact about this is that Fantino is the cousin of Young Melee, who happens to be the actor behind CJ in the San Andreas entry. Perhaps they will reunite in a future game, only time will tell. Weirdly colored gang areas. There's a strange bug in the game that occurs if you fly at the edge of the map for a long period of time. You will start to see the entire map having gang territory areas as well. There's a video showcasing how this can happen. I'll leave a link in the description. Mount Chiliad horror voices. Some people have reported to hear a lot of horror noise during the night around Mount Chiliad, from common screams, someone crying, and a chainsaw revving up as well. A lot of people think it's noises from some ghosts or pedestrians who were killed up there, like the witness during the Badlands mission. I think the reason for this though is some random pedestrians will fall off the mountain and scream while doing so. The Panopticon. The original meaning of this word, the Panopticon, is it was a concept of a prison where every prisoner is constantly watched without knowing it. But in the GTA games, the Panopticon leaves more questions than answers to myths. A small, isolated, yet open sawmill located in Red County. It is home to numerous myths, including Leatherface, Pigsy, and the Crazy Redneck. What makes it so unusual is its bearing resemblance to movie-style horror settings. The Panopticon is very eerie. Its current status seems to be shut down and its history is unknown. One of the most interesting finds is the bloodstains found in one of the sheds. The Panopticon itself is only involved in the story once a mission ends there. Even more interesting is there is a chainsaw located on the Panopticon. Could it be a hint to the Leatherface myth, or is it a history of a different origin? Also, this may be a stretch, but there's a vortex located at the Panopticon. What's interesting about this is that Vortex is also the name of a company behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was produced in 1974. Question mark in the woods. In the Back O Beyond area, if the player zooms in with a camera or a sniper in a certain direction, a branch can be seen in the shape of a question mark. Some people believe it's supposed to be a potential location for other mythical creatures like Bigfoot and some other stuff like ghost cars, etc. Bin1_LAE. The only thing I could find of this was a small bunch of textures and nothing else, really. The Blueberry Mystery. The Blueberry Mystery is a myth that surrounds the town of Blueberry. For some reason, there's a bizarre blue glow that appears on buildings. It is believed that it's because of the EPSILON cult due to how close their rumored headquarters are, and the fact that blue is also the color of their cult. Downtown Glitch. This glitch can occur in the downtown part of San Fierro, where if the players go into a specific wall, they will fall and teleport near the Zombotech building. Also, while doing the glitch, the player will fall down into blue hell and make his car despawn. Horsecock Harry. Horsecock Harry is an unseen character in GTA San Andreas. He is mentioned by Mike Torino in a phone call during the mission Learning to Fly. If CJ does not finish all the exercises at the flying school, Torino will call and say that Sweet will have a new cellmate soon if CJ doesn't learn to fly.
Torino.
Carl, learn to fly.
I'm on it, man, I swear.
Hey, I'm on it, man. Same old broken record, Carl, but that's fine. Because your brother's getting a new cellmate tonight. Horse cock Harry, and I'm sending a present, little wedding present. Big tub of lube.
After that, Torino stops calling to remind CJ to learn how to fly. CJ had a son with Denise. This is a thing a lot of the GTA fans have wondered if it's true or false. In GTA San Andreas, during the Burning Desire mission, when you finish it, you can go on a date with Denise. And then in GTA 5, when you finish Prologue, you find out Franklin's aunt is called Denise as well. So people thought that CJ was Franklin's father because of that, but it's not true. They just share the same name, that's about it, so it's just a false myth. Ghost Motel. The Jefferson Motel is alleged to be a ghost hotel after the Reuniting the Families mission. Leaving all the dead bodies in made the hotel go out of business. After the mission, no cars spawn in the parking lot, and sometimes there could be a flickering light seen as well around the building. Despite all the things that happened, there isn't enough evidence to confirm the presence of ghosts in there. Also, one thing I noticed while recording the footage for this though, there is a save icon outside of the motel. I'm not sure why there even is a save icon here, but I thought it was a cool little detail to mention as well. Alcatraz. Alcatraz is a prison that was in the beta of the game. It was located near the Gam Bridge, but during development it got removed and replaced by a ship owned by the Da Nang boys instead. It can be seen on the beta map, which is located in Torino's Ranch and the Lil Probe Inn. Pokemon. This entry is a bit of an unknown one since it doesn't have much background to it. However, it can be found in-game. Whenever you go to East Beach in Los Santos, you can see a billboard that displays the words Juguetes Regalos, and in the side of this billboard you can see the infamous Ash Ketchum, Pikachu, Squirtle, and also Mickey and Minnie Mouse. The beta. During the development of GTA San Andreas, a lot of content and ideas got cut before the final release of the game. Many of these can be seen in the beta versions. For example, grocery families used to be Orange Street families. This is a very long topic, so I will leave a link in the description of a detailed rundown of all the stuff in the beta. Police brutality. It is an actual proven myth in the game. If you go into the LSPD underground parking lot, you can see some cops punching random pedestrians in there. It is most likely an Easter egg to show how the police brutality occurred in the Rodney King situation during the 1992 LA riots. Fort Carson Sky Door. The Fort Carson Sky Door seems to be an oversight rather than an Easter egg in the game. It consists of two floating markers that hover in the sky at the height limit. When you enter the marker, it teleports you into a house, quite similar to the ones you can rob during the burglary side mission, because there are items that CJ can pick up like TVs and microwaves. There is also a person in the house who instantly is hostile to the player, and when you kill him, his body doesn't produce blood. The Wayfarer bug. This glitch was discovered by a YouTuber called Bratuli Fjomp in 2011. Probably butchered the name, my apologies. According to him, there were reports about the passenger's face being distorted while sitting on the Wayfarer. I tested this in single player, but the same results happen in multiplayer as well. The passenger's face would be distorted. Not sure why it happens. It could be a side effect from a cheat or something else. Who knows? And with that, we're at the end of the iceberg. I want to personally thank you all for actually sitting down and watching this entire iceberg. If you made it through, thank you a lot. This took me more than half a year to actually finish, mostly because of some IRL situations, so you might notice with my voice in specific facts, some being recorded at one point, some at other points and stuff like that. But overall, I enjoyed my time while making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it though. This is my biggest video up to date. I've never taken half a year for any other video in my life, so I really feel like I did a good job with this. And if there's something that I forgot to mention, by the way, feel free to post it in the comments below. Of course, everyone has their own opinions where something belongs in an iceberg, like something might be in level 2 instead of level 3, you know, that type of stuff. But personally, this is what I thought belonged where it belonged. But hey, everyone has their own opinions. You're free to post it in the comments down below. And once again, thank you for watching this video though. If you want to support the channel, feel free to drop a like and maybe even subscribe if you enjoyed it. Also, I stream 4 to 5 times a week on Twitch, so if you guys enjoyed this vid, you can come over and check out our live streams as well though. Also, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me for all this time and being awesome people as always, helping me out massively with this video as well. A lot of people in my Discord server, Twitch channel, thank you all personally for sticking by and pushing me to actually finish this video properly. yeah, hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care as always, and yeah, peace.
See you around, officer.